thank you so much for tuning in to ChasingCinema.com's official YouTube channel, and today I am going to give you what most of you have all been waiting for, and that is a recap of Warner Brothers' presentation at CinemaCon. And if you don't know what CinemaCon is, it is the official convention for NATO, the National Association of Theater Owners, and Warner Brothers had their presentation today talking about their upcoming slate. Now, before I hop into that, there's a white eye above my head. If you click it, a bunch of links will drop down. You could see my recaps for all the presentations. Universal, Disney, Paramount, STX, all of that. Click that white eye, you could find all of that. If you don't want to miss anything that I do publish from CinemaCon, hit that subscribe button right here. Last but not least, follow me at Tiranno on Twitter and Instagram. I live tweet all the presentations and everything going on at CinemaCon, so you can find out what's going on right then and there. And I also post a lot of photos on my Instagram, so you can see all the posters and the trade show and all the other fun stuff that we do over there. Now let's hop right into it. Warner Brothers has everyone excited because obviously they are going to be addressing DC, and a lot of people are going to be addressing Dunkirk. Now, I know people are excited for Dunkirk, but I felt on my Twitter feed at least, there were equal amounts of Dunkirk fans looking for news and questioning about footage as there were DC. I have to look at all my tweets and see which ones got the most interaction, but they're definitely an equal balance. So the Warner Brothers presentation kicked off with a sizzle reel and an intro video from Alan Arkin, Michael Caine, and Morgan Freeman telling us to have a great CinemaCon. They're sorry they couldn't be here. And then Sue Kroll of Warner Brothers took the stage and welcoming this CinemaCon audience. And in her presentation, like most of these studios, reps do, talk about the importance of movie theaters because, again, this is a convention for movie theaters and exhibitors. They were talking about the importance of cinema and how the industry is changing and how Universal is going to be a part of that, the pioneering of where film is going. She also threw in that we're going to be talking a lot about Justice League and that we'd be seeing some stuff from Wonder Woman and Aquaman. So that got the crowd pretty riled up. Now, she took off, host came on stage, and almost immediately introduced Christopher Nolan to talk about Dunkirk. Nolan took the stage solo and really kind of dominated the screen, selling why he made Dunkirk, selling why this movie is important. He called it one of the greatest stories of human history and continued to tell us how he wanted to put the audience members on that beach, which obviously this film takes place during World War II. And if you've seen anything about it, it looks like very intense, a very alarming and thrilling movie. And he explained that the only thing he's interested in talking about or addressing is theatrical exhibition, which basically, he means he's seeing things at a theater. He announced that Dunkirk, well, didn't announce, but he stated that Dunkirk was all shot on large format cameras. He's going to be releasing it in IMAX, IMAX digital, laser projection, 70 millimeter. He's going to be doing a bunch of formats. And he knows that the best way to see his movie is through the movie theater. And so he got a huge round of applause for obviously all these people who own or manage movie theaters. And then he introduced a small clip, or what he said, a short film version of Dunkirk. Now, from my understanding, the footage was not very different from the prologue that was shown in the IMAX screenings. So if you'd seen that, I guess the footage wasn't much different. It was the first time I experienced it. And first off, the sound was blaring. And obviously that's something that's really apparent, especially in the trailer. If you've heard or seen that trailer, you hear that the loud roaring of the engines of the planes or the jets, and you hear that kind of ticking noise, and you just feel the intensity. It gives you a lot of anxiety. And this is the theater that Celine Dion, Elton John all play at, right? This is a huge Coliseum. This is a famous Coliseum in Caesar's Palace. And I was ready to cover my ears, but it really, really helped and push that emotion of just anxiety and intensity. And when we were in the air with Tom Hardy, my heart was stopping. It was so intense, and I'm really looking forward to this movie. Very different from Nolan in the sense that this is definitely seems like it's more geared towards an Oscar type film. I think he really wants to kind of take home the gold statue with this one. Not saying that's the only reason why he's making it, but it definitely seems a little bit different to the point where this would get him in that category. But I'm up and down on Nolan's films, but this one is something that I'm really, really looking forward to. Very heavy-handed, it seems like a very great cinematic experience, and one of those movies that just make you go, wow, I'm really glad I saw that at the movies. Now, they moved really quick today. They immediately hopped into their horror sizzle reel, which introduced the trailer of Annabelle Creation, which is due in theaters August 11th, and the trailer for It, which opens up on September 8th. Now, I believe the It trailer dropped earlier today, but I was at CinemaCon, I was doing presentations, and I knew I was going to be seeing the Warner Brothers presentation tonight, so I said, well, I'm going to wait and hopefully see it at the Coliseum in this beautiful, great big screen. And I am so glad I did, because I really enjoyed that trailer, and in being able to enjoy it with a huge audience like that and people screaming and things like that, it was a lot of fun. Annabelle Creation, okay, whatever. But it looks so good, and I'm really excited to see that finally come to fruition in September. We briefly talked about Unforgettable, the film starring Katherine Heigl, Rosario Dawson, and they came on stage and introduced an extended look, very much a lot of the stuff you've seen in the trailers, which is about the jealous ex-girlfriend. And the extended look had some more scenes, and I was like, okay, like, all right. Not something that I'm super looking forward to. They also played the trailer for a movie called Everything, Everything, which, is a very popular novel and, got a lot of, I think it said over 16 million views right now, or probably even more, 160 million views. Their trailer on YouTube, but they showed us a trailer that, everyone could see. And to me, it seemed, again, like something like, okay, that's fine. Nothing that super jumped out at me, but obviously something that is meant for an audience that are really excited to see it. We moved on to the upcoming comedy Bastards, and Bastards is basically Owen Wilson and Ed Helm play twins who find out that their mom had a very adventurous sex life and they do not know who their father is, so they go on this journey to find out who their father is. J.K. Simmons is in the picture as well. And director Larry Sher and Ed Helms took the stage to talk about it. And it looks conventional. And I don't mean to be like so harsh on it. It looked fine. But it looked like it kind of has that very conventional feel. And comedies, especially, I don't want to get into it. Basically, to me, it didn't stand out. It didn't seem like something that blew me away. We, following that, got a trailer, an extended trailer for The House, which I actually think has some really good moments in the trailer. I do think that that's going to be a movie that I'm going to have mixed feelings about, because that first half of that trailer, I'm like, but there are some moments where I'm like, oh, that could be really funny. Anyway, nothing groundbreaking there. And then Charlie Hunnam took the stage to talk about King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. And we saw that footage. Immediately following, we saw the footage for Geostorm. Now, King Arthur's footage looks like it has potential. It looks like it could really turn out to be something exciting. It looks, to me, seeing the posters and everything didn't really stand out, and I don't think it really jumps out at me now either. I don't think either, both King Arthur or Geostorm, really jump out at me, but I could definitely see the potential in them ending up to be really, really entertaining films. Now I move to Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049, which I'm excited because we had seen some stuff at Sony's presentation, because Sony, I believe, is taking the international distribution for Blade Runner 2049, and Warner Brothers is doing domestic. So we saw a lot of the same footage that we had seen in the Sony presentation, but they also showed us some behind the scenes reel, which is also really exciting. And they did show some really, really cool stuff that even emphasized more than what we were shown at Sony. This was all introduced by Ana de Armas, Jared Leto, and of course Denis Villeneuve, director of Sicario, Prisoners, and Arrival, which all films I really enjoyed. So This movie just looks to me like it's going to be a great experience. I mean, you have Deacon cinematography, which looks unbelievable, breathtaking. And then you have Denis behind the camera, Ryan Gosling, Harrison Ford, Jared Leto. I have a lot of faith in this movie, and this was one of those experiences where we got to see more of the world that we're going into. And as we all know, if you've seen the original Blade Runner, the world is a very, very important part of this story and how this world works with these technological advances. And I'm really looking forward to this movie, and some of the stuff was just stunning. I hope that you guys get a peek at the Blade Runner 2049 trailer soon. We also saw a look at the Lego Ninjago movie and also kind of celebrated how good the Lego movies were doing. Okay. And then it was time for DC. Now, first to take the stage was Jason, why am I spacing on his last name? Momoa. And to talk about Aquaman. And he immediately was saying, like, obviously we have no footage to show you because we've not started shooting. He is actually leaving Vegas, or probably already has left Vegas, traveling to Australia where James Wan, the director, is. And they're going to start shooting, I believe, tomorrow. But if not tomorrow, I mean, they're going to start shooting soon. So there was no footage to show us. But what they did was show us a lot of concept art and some storyboards that looked kind of animated. I mean, I don't know if they do that if they go that far to make things look so amazing. Like, I mean, these things look like they were out of the comic books, colored and everything. And man, I would say that Aquaman wasn't a movie that I was like super excited for. And I know, I mean, if you're a DC fan, please don't be offended. Please don't get mad. Don't hit dislike just yet. But I'm looking forward to it now because from what they've shown today, it looks like we're going to be an incredible world, just like Blade Runner. We saw some great stuff costume-wise of Aquaman. We saw some Atlantis. I mean, we kind of really find out how the movie opens, and it kind of looks like we are seeing these this big kind of war sequence, only to find out that these what look like kind of planes or machines end up being like people riding sharks and things of that nature. And the more that we explored it, I mean, this world just looks so incredible. Atlantis, obviously. And you know, maybe because I think people are assuming it's going to be dark and gritty and grayish, kind of like the Zack Snyder movies have been, BVS and Man of Steel. Aquaman looked the opposite. It looked colorful, it looked vivid, and it looked like a world that I wanted to be a part of. Momoa just kind of oozed this chemistry where he would just really fit that role, and we want to see more of him. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Then director Patty Jenkins and Chris Pine took the stage to talk about Wonder Woman, and they introduced some footage from what I thought was just going to be a little bit, because it kind of came off like a trailer at first, and then it turned into about a 7-10 minute set of footage. Different scenes were plucked out. We first kind of started off with Wonder Woman and Chris Pine in a boat. They're traveling to London, and she's talking about getting there and killing Ares and ending this war. We move towards London, and you know, there's like okay, I should go back. So they're on this boat. He ends up laying down with her, and they're talking about, you know, what their kind of plans are and what she's expecting. She tells her about her origins, that her mom made her out of clay and then was brought to life by Zeus. We get to London. She's like, it looks hideous. It doesn't look beautiful. And then we're followed by 2 great action sequences. And I mean, out of this maybe 7 to 12 minute sequence, I was in. Again, I don't want to upset my DC fans because I know I've said some stuff that you guys have upset you before with my reviews of BVS or Suicide Squad, but you tell me, you list out the cards of what DC's releasing, I have the most faith in Wonder Woman, especially after seeing what I've seen now. I think that they have some great potential, especially the final fight sequence that we saw, where she's bursting through the window and just taking dudes down. I mean, it was impressive, and I really am looking forward to this movie. Now, here was the weird part. I know a lot of you guys are sitting there like, okay, get to Justice League, get to Justice League. Well, I'm at Justice League now. And we had Zack Snyder and Justice League take the stage. And that included everybody besides Gal Gadot, but included Henry Cavill. And I don't know if you, I mean, I'm sure obviously you guys that are major followers or someone that really care about DC, you're reading about all this stuff, you know Henry Cavill's in this movie. But, you know, for those who, like, they've done a pretty decent job of just not mentioning Henry Cavill at all, like being a part of this movie. So it was interesting to see him up here. The weird part was Zack Snyder spoke and no one else did. I mean, obviously Jason Momoa spoke on Aquaman, but when they got up there, no one talked. And it was maybe for a minute. Zack Snyder, said it was a minute, and it was also weird. Instead of them introducing footage, the footage came before them. Now, if you've seen the new Justice League trailer, you saw what we saw, besides 2 clips. There might be a few things thrown in that, but it was essentially the new trailer that was released. There was a little kind of thrown in moment that was maybe like a minute long, and it is Batman, he's working on something. Gal Gadot, obviously breaks into his lair, and he's like, man, I spent $100 million or something. Make sure that security worked. And she goes, oh, you got your money's worth. It took me about a minute to get in here. And then it jumped into the trailer that we all know. You guys, I'm sure, have seen 100 times. Like James seen this 100 times. And then it ended with a bit of comedy. The very last thing we saw was Barry Allen freaking out because he sees the bat signal in there, and he's talking to Bruce Wayne. He goes, oh my God, look, that's your signal. Oh, sorry, that's your signal. Or is that for you? That's for you. He says something along those lines, but he's whispering because he doesn't want to announce that this guy's Batman. Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller, I have a lot of hope for him because I think he's a very good actor. I think he's very talented, and it looks like he's going to kind of bring this warmth and comedy to this movie. Obviously, DC kind of being attacked for being so dark and heavy-handed. So maybe that's what they'll give us. But essentially, I didn't get anything really out of the Justice League part of this presentation besides those 2 moments that you've not seen. Anyway, they were like, yeah, thanks for coming out. Please go see our movie. That's it. And it was like, oh, okay. So no one's going to say anything. No one's going to talk about it. And it was just a very odd close. So I don't know if they ran out of time or maybe some people didn't want to speak. Obviously, a lot of people were asking me, is Ben Affleck mad? Did he seem annoyed? He just got out of rehab? Or, he doesn't want to be in these movies anymore? I don't know. But that was it. And that concluded what we had seen on the Warner Brothers presentation. Guys, if you have any questions about anything that I didn't clarify or didn't say, let me know down here in the comment sections. Write me a question. I'll get back to you. I'll let you know if I can answer it. If you enjoyed this recap, hit that thumbs up. Again, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss anything that I publish from CinemaCon. More recap presentations and that white eye. And again, follow me at Jacob Tiranno on Twitter and Instagram to keep me up. There's 1 day left of CinemaCon. Don't miss out. I'm telling you, it's going to be awesome. 20th Century Fox and Lionsgate. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jacob Tiranno, and please continue chasing cinema.